Coming up on this week's edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by 1757 Golf Club, we'll talk about the Eagles getting back on the floor after a COVID shutdown. Mike will reflect on his thoughts of longtime Georgetown head coach John Thompson, and we'll look forward to this weekend's games against Navy. All of that after this.
1757 Golf Club in Dulles, Virginia is your ultimate golf experience. Don't let the cold weather give your golf game the winter blues. Stay in prime swing inside 1757's state-of-the-art heated golf academy. Improve your game with help from 1757's professional golf instructors and equipment fitters, and relax with your family and friends in the award-winning 1757 restaurant. Visit 1757golfclub.com for complete details. 1757 Golf Club, the DC area's ultimate relaxation destination.
Did you know that Geico's whole 15 minutes thing, that came from me? Really? My first idea was, in 1/4 of an hour, your savings will tower over you, figuratively speaking. But that's not catchy, is it? It's not going to swim about in your brain. So I thought, what about 15 minutes, 15%? Serendipity.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
And welcome into the show, Dan Laing alongside Coach Brennan. And Mike, let's jump right in. Obviously, tough time last couple weeks, the whole athletic department shutting down because of the COVID situation. Take us through that. How did you find out, and how did you give that to the players that everything was going to be shut down for a couple weeks? No practices, no games, no anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's sudden. That's the hard part. It's like we're, constantly on pins and needles, waiting these test results. So, every week, every day it's been like this because the results don't always come back. They come back at different times. And you can literally test negative on Wednesday, but then and Friday, but then get your previous Monday results Friday afternoon. And if someone's positive, you're shut down. So it's a hard thing where, we've been going through it for, obviously the whole time we've been playing.
Yeah.
So that's the suddenness of it, the unknown. The games that have been canceled, we've been, waiting up until the very last minute. So that's the hardest part. And then it's, it's a huge letdown, and as soon as I know it's going to be, what you're facing. So it's like, how do you start, sort of preparing the guys and, keeping them together and focused, through it. So it's an emotional roller coaster.
Mm-hmm. And to that point, I mean, the fact that, not only everyone focuses on the fact that there aren't games during that time period, but there also aren't practices. So momentum and chemistry, and especially for a team like this one that has a lot of new pieces, how have you seen that affect? I mean, I realize you've only really been back with the team for a few days or so, but how frustrating was it that had to stop, and how have you seen that affect the momentum and the chemistry of the team?
Yeah, well, I mean, practices are their outlet because they're already, isolated as it is. But once you get a positive result, you're quarantined. So you have to stay in your rooms, I forget about basketball. It's just trying to, their mental health is the important thing that we're trying to just, focus on. And, it's hard. It's just because it's been multiple times. And I don't think people understand. I don't know who else is, literally quarantined and isolated. But it's a hard thing to do, and it takes its toll. So as much as it affects, strategy and who we're playing and being in shape and all that kind of stuff, it's more, they're isolated in their rooms, which is a hard thing.
Now, before you went into the lockdown, you had said that the guys had a couple really good practices. Do you see that they were able to pick up from that point and sort of keep going, or has it been a reset button, and are you having to kind of go back a little bit and get back on track, or have you just been able to pick up from where you left off?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's too long of a shutdown to just simply pick up. And I give our guys a ton of credit just because it's happened so many times that at their resiliency, they're doing everything that they should be doing already. They're wearing masks, they're, isolating, they're staying away from everybody. They're sort of limiting above and beyond what the normal, everybody else is doing at this time to test negative. And then, so they do all of these things, and then you get a positive, and it's just, it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
So it's hard, mentally. And I give our guys credit because they come back with energy, and it's an unbelievable group to coach because they're so locked in, focused together, ready to go. So I got to be cognizant of not going too hard right away, not having an 11-hour practice the very first day back, because that's like, you want to do all this stuff, and they do too. So our training department does a good job of making sure that we're incrementally building up physically. But the team has been great. The kids have been great. So hopefully, I just want them to be able to compete the way they feel they should. Everyone's been through this lockdown stuff, and it's hard. So hopefully we can just, look like we've been working hard, because we have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when you look at Ben LeBarsky, Connor Nelson, a couple guys that may not be scoring quite as much as you had thought they might be, but yet they seem to be doing pretty well on defense, rebounding. Obviously, they're getting minutes. Talk about where they are and what you want to see from them here moving forward in these next few weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, I just want them to continue to do what they've been doing. They've been great. Two of our hardest workers. We need them to do a lot on the court. And we've only played 4. Connor's only played 2. Has Connor even played 4? So normally you have a full season and all this build up to what my expectations are and what theirs are. But you have all these pauses and all this kind of stuff. So, even though we're in mid-February, it's not like we're in mid-February, sort of shape, so to speak. But they've both been, terrific, great kids. I love coaching them. They play hard. They give you everything they have. So I know that they're going to, be able to continue to contribute. I've been, so happy with their effort and contributions.
Let's talk about John Thompson. Big John, longtime coach at Georgetown, 27 years. The first black head coach to win an NCAA title back in 1984. And you were an assistant for 4 years at Georgetown with his son, JT3, as the head coach. Big John was around a lot. I know games I went to and covered in the media, he was always there at games. I would imagine he was probably there at practices as well. What were you able to soak up and sort of see from him? How much was he around?
No, he supported, the program, obviously, he's at every practice. He had his chair in the gym, and he was at all the Kenner League games. So, basketball was obviously his life, and he's a Hall of Fame coach. And, anytime he would, you're almost dying for him to speak, because you want to soak up every single word. And he was a lot like Coach Carrill, my college coach. He coached in high school. He's a teacher at heart, and that's how he approached coaching. And there was just so much knowledge there, not just basketball. Hey, tell this guy to do this on the court, but he saw people. He recognized personalities. He saw sort of not only all the little details, but the big picture too. So and I know he was him and John were so close. So huge loss for the family and for the basketball community.
And of course, we're talking about him because the National Association of Basketball Coaches sent out towels, and that you're going to wear a towel over your shoulder in honor of Coach Thompson. But that was his staple. That was his signature along the sidelines. He always had that white towel over his shoulder as he towered and walked up and down the sideline.
Yeah, I remember the game when Louis Carnesecca came out with the huge towel, when they played against each other. But I actually had it. It's keeping me in check a little bit, because I had it on my shoulder for our first game. And I got upset and I was about to throw it, and I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I just, it's sort of keeping me calm and on the sidelines.
Nice. And of course, he also played a couple years in the NBA and backed up Bill Russell. So and won a couple championships. So not too bad of a life and a career for Coach Thompson. As we look forward to this weekend, you guys are going to be playing Navy, a couple home games, a nooner on Saturday, 6 p.m. on Sunday. The Sunday game going to be on CBS. What are a couple of your Geico keys to the games this weekend against the Mids?
Yeah, I mean, they're so solid, so you have to match their solidness. They don't make mistakes. They don't hurt themselves, and they play so hard. So they go after the offensive rebounds. So we got to make sure that we're, matching their physicality, and then making sure that we're remaining as solid as possible on defense, because they're just, they're just so good. They move the ball. They do what they're supposed to do, and they run their stuff and they defend. They make you work. So it's just us trying to maintain that level, throughout the whole game.
Well, best of luck this weekend as you get back on the floor. And again, that's the Eagles taking on the Mids this weekend on Saturday at noon. You can catch that game on ESPN Plus, and then Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. So you can catch that as well. For Coach, I'm Dan. We'll see you next week.